Hello everybody, welcome back to Read and Reread. I am Angelia and today I want to talk about my September TBR. And you'll never guess, it's kind of out of control. It's a little off the hook, but there were just so many good groups and events and things and stuff, and so we'll see. Some of it is undoubtedly going to roll over. In fact, there's things in here that already rolled over from August. And it's all good. I have a piece of hair sticking straight up. It's just humid, curly, weird. Why is that piece so short? This hair represents the mild chaos that's going on at my house right now. I am so distracted and I'm getting a few things done, but I keep getting interrupted. Who's interrupting me? This guy. We adopted a foster dog from the neighborhood. It is a stray dog that has been running around up and down an adjacent street for a few weeks. He's kind of a mostly grown puppy, and they're half grown. I don't know how much growing is left. We have named him Wilky. It's a little early for Victober, but this is Wilky, and we are fostering him. It's been a few years since we had a dog, but we have cobbled together some supplies, borrowed. We've met some neighbors that participate in rescuing dogs, and we bought some stuff, and he's here, and he's getting his checkup tomorrow, and he's getting neutered tomorrow, so we'll see. Hopefully, the main thing that I'm concerned about is I'm hoping that he's not heartworm positive, which is a really big problem in Texas with unhoused dogs, or even dogs with owners that don't attend to health care. And we went through that in the past several years ago with another dog that we rescued in a different neighborhood, and it's just not a fun process. But anyway, hopefully he will get a good report. Peace and quiet of this retired person's household has been slightly upended, but he's really sweet, super sweet dog. He's been sleeping through the night. He has only had one accident so far, but we'll see what happens. The surgery might kind of throw him off. But he's also a puppy, and he's kind of restless and up to no good sometimes. He's also an escape artist, so we have to walk him on a leash, even in our own fenced backyard, because he was previously caught and dug out a couple of times from other people's houses that tried to rescue him. So we're on the up and up with Wilkie and trying to get him leash trained and stuff like that. So that's the craziness that has ensued since my last video. So wish me well with Mr. Wilkie. But you didn't come here. Maybe you did come here to hear about a random dog. Well, we're going to move on to the books now. So one big event in September is Shorty September. And this is an annual event celebrating all things short. Novels, novellas. It could be plays. It could be nonfiction, whatever. Things that are under 200 pages. That's what most people pick for their cutoff, but it's kind of flexible. The hosts of Shorty September are Heather from Too Many Heathers, Crystal from Fiber Artsy, and I think there's one more co-host. Oh no. I'll put her name up here, and I will put links to these channels too. And there are a bunch of fun prompts and categories that you can follow in that challenge. And then I have my own little additional thing that I put up in a separate video about 30 stories in 30 days. So I will be posting a short story from a different author every day in September, and if you're subscribed, you will get those posts each day, and you can read the story because it will be linked. And so I will be reading short stories and some short fiction. And so what I did was there's so many other events that I'm going to talk about in just a minute that I just made a mood pile for the Shorty September selections. Although some of my official selections and other events and stuff also count as Shorty. So even if I don't get to anything in the moody pile, I'm still covered. So for the first one's actually, it's kind of mood. It's not exactly a mood choice because this one's going to be a buddy read with Louise. And this is on the calculation of volume 1 by Solvej Balle, and translated by Barbara Haveland. And this is a rollover from Women in Translation Month. Not going to get to it before we run out of August, but I still really, really want to read it. It's kind of at the top of my want to reads on these shorties. And Louise wants to reread it, so we're going to put this into the September TBR. And it's the beginning of a 7-part planned saga that maybe 3 of the parts have come out, and it has to do with a woman who keeps waking up and experiencing the same day over and over. So that one for sure. And I love all these covers that look like, I don't know, it's like a cross between a black hole and a geode, but I really like these. Okay, the rest of this is the Moody Mood pile that I might pull from at any moment. The first one is Franny and Zooey by J.D. Salinger, something I want to reread. I've been kind of working my way through my old Salingers, besides Capture in the Rye, which I read every year. So I have Franny and Zooey, which is 2 novellas. This is kind of a lightning round. I'm not going to, there's so many, if I stop and discuss them all, we're going to have an hour-long video, and nobody wants that. The next one is Ellen Foster by Kaye Gibbons. This book's from the 80s, a very early Oprah book. And I read it back in the 80s, and I've been meaning to reread it. I have a couple of her novels on my shelf as well. I know it's about a little girl who lives through some hardships. That's all I remember. Then we have Offshore by Penelope Fitzgerald, a Booker Prize winner. It's Booker season, right? I've never read anything by Penelope Fitzgerald. She's on my authors that I need to try list, and it's short. It's about a bunch of people that live in some, maybe like a houseboat or something. Let's see. Yeah, or maybe they live in a little community of houseboats. Clarice Lispector, also on my list of people I need to try, and this is Hour of the Star. I think it was her last book. We have Old Caledonia by Elspeth Barker. I think it's the only book she wrote. She's a one-hit wonder, and this book was recommended a long time ago by Priscilla at Evening Reader, and I forgot that I bought it. I just had to have it put on the shelf, and I rediscovered it. What is it about? I don't know. It's about a teenage girl who died. Like at the beginning, she's dead. Janet was found oddly attired in her mother's black lace evening dress, twisted and slumped in bloody, murderous death. That's the beginning. I have a reread that I really want to do. The Member of the Wedding by Carson McCullers. I have been on the edge of a Carson McCullers revival for like 2 years, and it just hasn't ever started. So maybe this will be the time. I have Animal Farm, but I think I'm going to move this to October because the banned book club at the library just released its lists for the next 6 months, and this is the October selection, so I think it's going to reschedule. I have Love and Saffron by Kim Fay. This is an epistolary novel, letters between 2 friends, and I think there's a bunch of recipes or food talk in here. I'm going to take it at face value, a novel of friendship, food, and love. And this particular copy is bittersweet to me because I gave this to my mom. It was one of the last books I bought for her, and now it's come back to live with me. Okay, so those are the short novels and novellas. I also pulled a few short story collections that I thought I might want to dip into and sample because those other 30 stories just couldn't possibly be an adequate amount of stories, right? So I have How Far She Went by Mary Hood, which I've used this in a video about things on your shelf you haven't read, one of those videos, and Mary smirking at me forever for not reading her book. And she even inscribed it, but not to me. She described it for somebody named Caroline. Okay, this sounds really personal. It says, this one's for Caroline Tierney. Welcome to my world, Mary Hood. 3/12/86. Okay, Caroline, what's up with that? Why did you not keep your book? Hopefully not for tragic reasons. I have something that looks really weird from the little bit that I sampled. It's called Where We Go When I'm going to try this again. Where We Go When All We Were Is Gone by Sequoia Nagamatsu. No. Yes. Oh my gosh. I've gotten up early the past 3 days. Bear with me. Strange short stories by the author of How High We Go in the Dark, which is one of my favorites. I have Miss Grief and Other Stories by Constance Fenmore Wilson, close personal friend of Henry James. I learned about her when I read The Master, and I wanted to read her writing. And The Future is Female, this anthology of science fiction that covers several decades. There's 2 volumes, and this is the earlier volume. science fiction short stories written by women from, I don't know, what is the time period here? I think it starts in the 1920s and goes up to 1969. So I'm in the market for part 2. So I think that's going to keep me busy with short stuff. That probably should have been the whole video, right? But no, there's so much more. All right, let's see. I've got a cheat sheet. Framed, Art in September. That event, I love it. It's hosted by Hannah of Hannah's Books, Elizabeth from Buchan's Books, and Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads. And it is all about reading books that have to do with art. All kinds of art. Visual arts, performing arts, music, dance, photography, architecture. I think it all counts. And it can be fiction or nonfiction. And the main prompt is to just read a book that has to do with art. And then I think additional prompts are to go and experience some art, go to a performance or a museum or a gallery. And then the third bonus prompt is to create some art or talk about a work that is special to you. So we'll see how I do with all those prompts, but I'm definitely going to read some books that have to do with art. And it's going to be kind of leaning into the nonfiction, because all of the fiction books I was thinking about are all on long library holds. So I have some, but I don't think I'm going to read them in the time frame. But I do have some nonfiction I'm really excited about. And my main nonfiction book, this is it's a triple dipper. So it's Framed in September selection, and it's a shorty. It's a secret shorty because of all the back matter at the end of the book. It's my nonfiction selection for September, and that is All the Beauty in the World, The Metropolitan Museum of Art and Me by Patrick Bringley. It's a memoir about Patrick Bringley quitting a stressful job and taking a new job as a guard at the museum during a difficult time in his life when his brother was diagnosed with cancer. So I'm going to be reading this, and I have a companion piece that was a gift from my friend Michael, which is a Met guide. So when Patrick is talking about different things in the museum and pieces of art, I can also see if they're in this Met guide, and even if not, there's a lot of really wonderful things. So I've been saving this up. And I bought this at the little new bookstore in town that's called The Cookie Plot. It's so cute, but it focuses on romance, and then there is some fantasy and things in there too. It's not exactly my genres, but they also have this cute, I'm gonna need to go back because they were installing a bakery the time that I visited during their grand opening, and I need to go back now because look at the finished product. And yeah, of course, I'll have to support them by buying a cookie or something. So I have this Met guide. And then I also have another art book that I'm not going to show you right now because it's part of a haul and it's pretty spectacular. So I'm going to wait. So there's something in the mail and I can't do the haul yet, but I have one more book I want to share with you for this little nonfiction art palooza. Okay, so the Pinheiro group, the group of friends that read together, we worked our way through 7 books by Claudia Pinheiro. A lot of us read them in translation. Some of us read them in Spanish. And ever since then, we wanted to read together again, but we had to find the right time and the right book. And so we are coming together again in September to read a book by Rabih Alameddine. Have not read anything by him before. And the one that we're going to read is called The Angel of History. Do I know what this book is about? No. I think I did briefly look it up when we were talking about it and it sounded good, but I don't remember now, and I don't care. I know it's going to be good. Some other people in the group had read other books by this author and really enjoyed them and wanted to read another, and others of us had not ever read anything by him before. He does have a new book coming out this fall as well, and he has a couple of other books that people have loved. So if this one is a big hit, then I have a new author to further explore, and I'm really looking forward to this group conversing again. And so we're starting that at the beginning of the month. I will talk more about what the book's about when I begin, because I have completely blanked out on what the subject matter is of this book, but it's coming very soon. The Books and Bocadillos group, that's hosted by Maria Andrea, has the selection this month of How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accents by Julia Alvarez. I have not read this book before. I've heard about it many times, but I haven't, and again, I don't really know. Okay, I'm assuming it is about the Garcia girls, and I did not look things up. I just went with the flow that I wanted to participate, and I checked it out of the library. So, and there's no descriptions. Oh wait, there is a description. The Garcia sisters, Carla, Sandra, Yolanda, and Sofia, and their family must flee from their home in the Dominican Republic after the discovery of their father's role in an attempt to overthrow the brutal dictator Rafael Trujillo. They arrive in New York City in 1960 to a life far removed from their existence in the Caribbean. Okay, I'm going to stop there. So it's about a bunch of girls immigrating to the U.S. in 1960. That already sounds good, and I'll read the rest of that description later. Then we have Reading the Globe. They also have a selection this month that sounds really excellent. The Director by Daniel Kelman, and it is translated by Ross Benjamin, and I was excited to find this at the library also. And this has a World War II era setting, but it has to do with I think a film director who flees Germany and comes to the U.S. He's working in Hollywood, but somehow for some reason he goes back. Let's see. Okay, his elderly mother is ailing, so he goes back to Austria, and then he is pressured into making propaganda films for the Nazis. I think that's the basic setup. So I've heard really good things about this, and I am excited to read it. I've been waiting for that one for a long time because it sounded so good when they previewed all the books at the beginning of the year. So see, none of these, I cannot, how can I fit all these in? But what can I cut? They all sound so good. And then we get to my own little project. So Endless Drama, we have 2 plays. I could fix that for next year and only do 1 every month. We have Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead by Tom Stoppard. Now this one is going to count, it's a shorty, it's a reread that I already had on my master list, and it is a book that was published in the year of my birth, which is on Melinda's Web of Stories Storygraph Reading Challenge. And this copy was a gift from my friend Michael as well. And so I know I read this like 1,000 years ago in college. Somebody else read this and underlined a few things, but it is in excellent condition. I think it's kind of a farce. I'm not sure. I can't quite remember. Very funny, very brilliant, and very chilling, says the New York Times. And of course, it is from the perspective of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern from Hamlet. Very, 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 very minor characters. So I can't wait to reread this. And then the other play is also a reread, but it wasn't really on my master list, so it doesn't count. I have all these little funky rules about what counts or not counts in the rereads. And it is The Bald Soprano by Eugene Ionesco. And I know this is an absurdist play, and I have a copy of it in my old Drama in the Modern World textbook from the 80s that has come in handy many a time. And then there's the science fiction double feature. I know you have fallen asleep at this juncture, but wake up, because we're going to talk about science fiction. We have The Man Who Fell to Earth by Walter Tevis. And I have been meaning to read this for decades on end before I even knew who Walter Tevis was. I knew what The Man Who Fell to Earth was because it was a movie with David Bowie that I didn't see, even though I love David Bowie. It's about an alien who comes to Earth and his experiences. And it's not exactly a shorty. I thought it was, but, well, I mean, it's pretty close. It's like 209 pages in this edition, so we're gonna give it a shorty pass. And then also, the other book this month is The Membranes by Chi Ta Wei and translated by Ari Larissa Heinrich. This is a Taiwanese author who is an academic, and I think he mostly writes academic, he's a professor of Chinese, no, that's the translator. A renowned writer and scholar, focuses on LGBTQ studies, disability studies, and Sinophone literary history. and does creative writing in the science fiction and queer short stories genres. So what do I know about this? I just know it's weird. It's dystopian and it's weird. People live under the sea. Yeah. We'll find out. And then this one also counts for the Ben Reads Good challenge of reading something blue. I read a lot of blue covered books in August, but the September challenge is blue, and this is as blue as the blue gets. Before or during all of this, I will be in the middle of a buddy read that has already started with Pat from Book Chat with Pat. We're reading The Book of Records by Madeline Tien, and we have a little schedule, so it's going to cross over from now into September, and we've only read the first 30 pages or so as of this recording. It's very, very intriguing and very unusual, and I'll have more to say as we go along. Editing Angelia here, sitting next to a sleepy Wilkie, who has taken over my spot on the couch. I forgot one of the events, which is our Bard Room monthly reading of Shakespeare, which in September also doubles as our participation in Shaketember. Melinda from Web of Stories hosts the Bard Room, and the hosts of Shaketember, I know it's Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading and Jason from Old Blues Chapter and Verse, and if there's another host I will add. I coming in late and hot and totally distracted, so apologies, but we're going to participate by reading As You Like It in September, and heaven only knows how I'm going to read all these things, but I don't want to miss any of them. All right, Angelia and Wilkie out. There's all of that, which is way too much, and then there's this wild card about Booker titles, because one of them's in the mail and one of them, no, maybe two of them are on request at the library, and I think they're also shorties, so help me. Send help! What am I gonna do? I'm just gonna keep reading and trying to take care of this doggy, and it's still hotter than every possible permutation of Hades, so hiding out and reading a book and drinking some iced tea. That's the plan. Let me know what you think about this absurd cavalcade of books and what you plan to read or look forward to. What events do you plan to participate in? I hope you are having a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.